Perfect. Vicky, would you like to tell your story, or should we do the prompt?
Maybe we should do the prompt because I don't know if there's anybody else. So why don't we do that?
Okay, great. So for those who don't know, each month we have a prompt, a question, and we just go around in the circle or up the screen, and we each say our names and where we come from and answer the question. And the question this month is, what food do you associate with the holidays? And so I will start. So hi, I'm Katie Mangan and I live in Santa Rosa. And the food that I associate with the holidays is Stilton cheese. And growing up each year, my parents at great expense bought half a Stilton, and my father wrapped it with a beautiful white table napkin. And he had this beautiful scoop. And, you know, you would scoop out the cheese, and he and I would often spend lunch times trying to make it all level. And so we just ate a ton of Stilton cheese. And anyway, that's my favorite food of the holidays. So why don't I call on Vicky to go next?
Well, mine is also from a different country. It's my father spent a lot of his time in Norway, and his parents came from Norway. And so Christmas meant a Christmas bread, which was sort of crusty on the outside, a sort of toasting bread thickness with that candied fruit, which in the 1950s was stoplight red and stoplight green, those colors, and cardamom. And the whole house would smell of yeast bread and cardamom when he was baking it. And I still make it sometimes today.
Lovely. Bev, why don't you go next? Can you unmute yourself, or I can?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
I always think of my mother's noodle kugel. And up to after she died, I never got the recipe in the box that my father gave me with all her recipes. And I was devastated. And the other day I was talking to my sister-in-law and I said, you know, the one thing I missed around the holidays is the noodle kugel and the smell of it cooking and her bringing it out and everyone going, oh. Well, she said, Bev, when your mom visited me once, she was, you know, a shtickle of this and a shtickle of that. She stood there and measured everything as she threw it in the kugel and created her recipe. I have it. So I wrote it down immediately, and I just got it this Sunday, and I'm going to the store tomorrow. And for Christmas Day, I'm making my mother's noodle kugel.
Thank you. Beth.
It's kind of fun. I'm thinking of all the good fragrances and all the other smells, and there's not actually one main thing except for gingerbread. Gingerbread houses, I guess, would have to be it. I just finished making some persimmon cookies, and that's more popular now. But with my kids, we always made gingerbread houses, and it was pretty elaborate. But and of course, I like stale gingerbread too. So I would be the nasty Grinch that ate the gingerbread houses up, I think. I do love gingerbread. That would have to be the one that weaves its way through.
Oh, thank you. Gay, what is your favorite food for the holidays?
I associate the holidays with eggnog, and a lot of times when you get together, you can put alcohol in it or not, but it's just something that people share with the cookies and the other foods and everything. So I just kind of think of eggnog because it didn't seem like any other time of the year to associate it other than right now.
Great, thank you. Kenneth.
I'm Kenneth Foster from Ephraim, Utah. So, and it's cold here. What we always had with our family were Graber olives from Upland, California. And we were introduced to them when I was a teenager. My uncle lived in Upland, California, and he would always send us a case of olives. They have the pits inside and they're green, not black. And they, even today, we still have Graber olives for Christmas, well, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's about the only time we ever have them. They're so special. They're very good olives. So that's what we have.
Great. You have some for this Christmas?
I do. I still have a few in my pantry and I'm waiting for the day.
Great, thank you. Hello, Shavo, can you share with us? I think, are you?
You're muted.
Can you unmute yourself?
There
Now,
we go.
Yeah, there you go.
okay, thank you. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved pumpkin pie. And as I said, that it's good for Halloween and also Christmas. But it fell from its crown. I mean, it slipped off its stool of appreciation about 4 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, when one of the young women who's from a Hispanic background that works with me, we had a, bring some food, and she brought sweet potato pie. And listen, oh, forget about pumpkin. So that's my newest fad, I guess. Yeah,
Oh,
we should all try it.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sharon, can you share with us?
So many. But one of my favorite things was doing Las Posadas with the students, where we would go from house to house and sing, and then come back to pozole and tamales. Just thinking about that makes me hungry. But I still I like to make pozole on Christmas Eve, even if we're not going to go out and get cold.
Nice. Cool, thank you. Meg, can you share with us? You are
You're
muted.
muted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Then you can see me. I'm sorry, I am having just like really a lot of trouble with my stupid technology today, so I apologize. I missed everybody's thing, but are you still on saying what we like for the food for the holiday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I like that much maligned dessert called fruit cake.
Oh,
My
right.
mother made her own fruit cake, and she would start sometime around Halloween, and she would make the cake. And of course, it would smell really, really good when she was making it. And we would all be so very curious, because she would then take it, the loaf or loaves, and she would put it in some cheesecloth. She would wrap it up with cheesecloth, and then she would take the brandy that we never got to have, of course, being children, but they never actually did either. And she would drizzle it all over that fruit cake. And she'd drizzle it and drizzle it. Man, that really smelled good. And then she would wrap it up in some foil, and it would go up on the top shelf. So we would wait. And then after a while, a few weeks later, she'd take it back down, she'd unwrap it, and she'd drizzle it again with this stuff. And my goodness, we were wondering what was she doing, And she did that maybe 4 or 5 times during the whole season before Christmas. And then finally on Christmas, she would bring it out, unwrap it, and she would put it on a really pretty plate, and maybe with some maraschino cherries on it. And then she would cut it, and man, it was divine. Why people don't like fruitcake, I have no idea. It can be just the best, but maybe it was my mom's homemade brandy infused fruitcake that did the trick. So yeah, that's what I remember about Christmas and food.
Oh, lovely. Sounds so good.
Yeah.
So Diamond, would you like to share with us? And if so, I can stop the recording, or would you like me to move on to someone else?
I'll just pass.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. John, are you still with us? Would you like to share? Okay. Joy, would you like to share with us and tell us what's the food that you associate with the holidays? And if so, can you unmute? No?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to Marley. Would you like to unmute and share your favorite food or what the food you associate with the holidays? All right, so now we'll go to Vina.
Yes,
Great.
hi. Well, my grandmother, I guess, made springerlies. And I don't know if you guys know springerlies. It's dry little cookie that has quite an anise flavor. And she would make it 2 weeks or so before Christmas because it had to dry out. And so when at Christmas, you know, there's all these fruit cakes and fresh things that people bring out for desserts during the opening of the presents, but there's also springerlies, and people aren't too fond of them. You know, they're compared to these other fresher things, they're a little dry. Not everybody loves the anise flavor. But my aunt died this year, and so the family had to figure out if they wanted to even try springerlies. My nephew is newly married and his wife wanted to. So she got the 4 pages of handwritten notes on how to do springerlies. And she made them, but she's a modern cook and she added a little lemon zest and didn't let them sit to dry out on the counter for a whole day before they get baked. And they're pressed. Each one has a little image on the top of it from the wooden mold that it's been pressed into. So they're quite beautiful as well. So she gave us her springerlies and they're good, you know, but they do have a modern flavor. She did not dry them out. So they are, they've risen more than the ones that my aunt would make. So I may never get those again unless I get around to making them myself the old way. But what we learned in studying how to, you know, what these differences are, is that the springerly is a cookie that you would bake 2 weeks before Christmas and you would store it in cans and you would have it for months because these cookies are supposed to be dry. They're supposed to be to dip into coffee or dip into tea and soak up that flavor. So anyway, because I love anise, I never had any trouble with springerlies, and I'm hoping we can get back to the classic springerly.
Right. I hope so too, Vina. Thank you. Genevieve, welcome. Good to see you. Would you like to share what food you associate with the holidays?
Sure. First of all, I'm really, really happy to be here. I feel like I haven't been here for so long. I don't know why. But anyway, it's nice to see all of you. And the thing that came to mind was chile con queso, because that was sort of the thing that was the bridge between the Mexican holidays and the American celebration of the holidays.
What is it?
Chile con queso.
Chile con queso.
Yeah, queso with green roasted chilies that my mom used to make, and it was just always delicious. And she made it with Velveeta cheese, and you would never know it. We didn't worry that it was Velveeta cheese. It was just yummy. But I have to say, I just came in from a little holiday open house at one of my neighbors, and one of my neighbors made the most wonderful 3-layer cookies that has just become my favorite holiday treat. So if we ever go in person, I'll get her recipe and I will bring them because they're really yummy, yummy, yummy. But my favorite holiday treat is just the love among all of us. It's just really good. And I'm going to have surgery a week from Wednesday. And so I'm going to have a mastectomy on my right side and some reconstruction. And the good thing is early detection, mammograms, yay, regular mammograms, good thing. But that's what I've been feeling, is that all of a sudden there's all these outpouring. It's always been there, but it's all kind of in concentrated amounts right now. Lots of love everywhere. So that's where I've been. And I haven't been writing stories, so it's kind of a bummer. It's just because it's a busy time. You have to do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you had a story, but I'm so pleased you're with us tonight, Genevieve. That's wonderful. I think what we'll do is we'll take a very short break, maybe 5 minutes, and let me check the time. Why don't we come back just a little after 8 o'clock? Does that sound like a good idea?
I have a question. If you have space, I could tell something that's not quite a developed story, but it's a sweet little anecdote that's very timely.
Okay, and would you like to, do you know how long that is?
Maybe about 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. So why, after the break, after our announcements, Genevieve, why don't you tell your story and then we'll finish up with Vicky.
Oh, sounds great.
All righty. So I'm going to turn the recording off.